Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. This is YP Lai, your work less, earn more expert, and I help busy entrepreneurs become happier, healthier, and believe it or not, wealthier. Okay, and tonight we've got a special guest with us. Okay, our special guest is Elvin. How do I pronounce it correct? Elvin Rodriguez.
Alvin
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
Rodriguez.
Alvin
Okay, that's
Rodriguez.
good. Who is a cybersecurity expert. And if you've seen the poster, we ask you, are you using the right protection? Okay. So this is about, yeah. I see some of you smiling there. You probably misinterpreted the title. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you how safe you are on the internet. Okay. So let's have Elvin. Elvin, do you want to just give a quick introduction about yourself before we
Sure.
jump into the topic?
Okay, so I'm Alvin Rodriguez. I've been in the IT industry for close to 30 years right now, which when I started to think about it, damn, it's a long time. And
30 years, yeah.
for that, I'm a big advocate about cybersecurity awareness and being cyber safe when you're on the internet. And I've been doing this for the last close to 10 years already. And currently I work for a large corporate MNC whereby I help large organizations to be cyber safe. And my personal mission is actually to help individuals like yourself, man in the street, right, how to become more cyber aware and how to become more cyber safe in all of your activities.
But then, Elvin, um, I'm just a small company, and this is what you hear a lot of people say. I'm a small
Right.
company. I'm just a small fish. Who will be bothered? Who will be bothered to come to try to hack me? Why should I be bothered? It's only those big companies that the cyber hackers want to get into, isn't it?
Well, that's the common belief, and that's a myth actually, because when you think about it, right, when you are being compromised, regardless of whether you're a small or big company, right, what you have is connection. We live in an age of digital connectivity, whereby your business now runs on the internet. Your network is your business. So in some shape or form, that small SME is a provider to another larger SME, is a provider to another even larger SME, and then
Okay.
finally goes up to the large organization. So, what are the chances that you have sufficient money to protect against a cyber attack versus a large organization? So, instead of going to attack the large organization, that will cost me a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money to try to infiltrate against the amount of budget they have actually installed to protect themselves against a cyber breach. I will look at their value chain and start hacking from the smallest company that probably cannot afford my attack strategy, cannot afford solutions to defend against my attack strategy, and then use their credentials, their trusted credentials, to find the next step up, and then subsequently the next step up, and then subsequently the next step up until I reach my
Oh.
end goal.
So
So
what
that's how,
you're actually saying that we may not be the target. It could be the big company that's a target, but they want to find what is the, if I use the word, the supply chain, or
exactly.
the connection chain of the big companies, and look for the weakest link, and you or perhaps me could be the weakest link.
Exactly. And because if you think about it, if you want to get in through that way, it will not cost you so much resources and money. It may cost you more time. And trust me, cyber criminals are very patient people. When they have identified a target, they would have scoped out the opportunity, the size of the opportunity they can actually extract from the organization. So they'll find ways and means of getting in. And by the way, right, when they have identified several targets, right, and one of them is this large organization, attacking a small SME would be one attack strategy. They will go in by another attack strategy, trying their luck to see their defenses, and they may even go by trying to bribe somebody within the organization to see whether he's willing to give them some, login credentials as a result of their bribe, or help them drop a USB thumb drive in the company for some unsuspecting innocent employee to pick it up and say, oh, 32 gig of USB thumb drive. Wow, that's a lot of storage. I'm going to plug it into my computer. And the minute it plugs in, bang, it's infiltrated.
So what we see in the movies is real, you mean? Like we see movies where they put a malicious code or a virus through a time drive into the server, and that's how they bring the whole big servers down. You mean things like that do happen?
Okay, that's a bit exaggerated, but the whole thing is plugging a thumb drive, whereby then, the minute you plug in a thumb drive, you will see that it will auto start, right? You always have, when you plug in something, a window always open. So one of the strategy actually to manage and to minimize that is two things. right? Number one, have an antivirus that scans your thumb drive. Number two, never ever allow an auto opening of anything that's connected to your machine. You can actually switch that off on your Windows 10 devices so that it doesn't auto start. The key thing is when it auto starts, it will trigger that you have a connection.
Okay, okay. Because I believe that many of our listeners, may not be so tech savvy, so I'm going to try to put it into simple words. So your
Please.
first line of defense, if you ever go and have a strange USB plugging into your computer, is to make sure that you've got a good antivirus. Yeah. So
That's your
so
first
so
line of
I'm going to
defense.
just digress a bit first, okay, Alvin? When you talk about good antivirus, they give you all these free ones you can download from the internet. Are the free ones good enough? Let's not mention names, but are free ones good enough?
Okay, so let's put it this way: the free ones, how do they entice you? They will then, yes, they are. Some of them are pretty good, so they will then notify you that you've got this problem in your computer. But if you want to remedy this problem, pay for my subscription, and that's how they get you to try them out. If you don't, then it's always lurking at the back of your mind of, did I really address that? But the general rule of thumb, I mean, like for me, right, call me Kiasula. I've got 3 antivirus on my one computer.
Is
3
it?
different types. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but for the sake of my own privacy, my sake of my own protection. But I've got 3 antivirus, whereby they all serve. On one hand, there's an overlaying and overlapping function, but on the other hand, they all serve a slightly different function from one another, where they have strong specialization. And the whole purpose behind that is that each of them is able to detect a type of virus at a period of time. So if one of them misses it, chances are the other one will catch it. So that's why you always have what you call a layered defense.
Okay.
And that's just antivirus.
Okay. Because this is I'm no tech savvy person, so I want to know the fundamentals to be safe. Yeah. So you're saying that if I buy a laptop, and normally laptop nowadays come bundled with one of those, like I would say the top
Micro
3.
or Symantec antivirus, yes.
Yeah. So your advice is I should get that bundle.
No, the bundle is usually free, right?
Okay.
Because it's all part of affiliate marketing as well. Whereby if they install, they when they buy that on your behalf, they get some kind of benefit back to them.
Okay.
For example, Dell or Lenovo, they normally give you all this sort of good stuff to make it more enticing and everything. But one layer is never enough. It's just like in your home, if you stay in a landed property, what's your first layer of defense? Your fence, right? Then once you bypass the fence, what's your second layer of defense? Your door, your main door, right? Or you may have a gate in front of your door, right? So your second layer of defense is a metal gate in front of your door, and then the third layer of defense is your actual door, right? And then what's your fourth layer of defense? You keep all your valuables hidden. What's your fifth layer of defense? You keep them hidden in a locked place whereby it's not easy to find and it's not easy to open. So again, at home you're already practicing this. So in the same way, right, you should be practicing the same thing, for your own computers and so on.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay, so later on, as you go into this conversation, we may come back and revisit this. So if you got the regular one that comes, and now I remember they give you only 3 months free. After that, you got to subscribe.
Some of them give you 3 months free. Some of them are more generous. They give you 3 years free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It all depends on how much you pay for your notebook.
Maybe I got an El Cheapo version, right? Yeah. Yeah, I know, but the latest one I got, they came with a Trend Micro system. Yeah, and it was for 1 year, and you can upgrade for many years. Yeah, okay, right. So we may come back and revisit. What next level? Okay, as somebody layperson, what would be the next level that you may want to protect yourself with? Okay, right.
Right.
And remind me, to talk about these things about what they call it. Something that prevent your IP address from being known. What do you call that?
VPN.
A VPN, right? Okay. So we'll come back and remind me to just talk about that. Okay, right.
Sure.
So in terms of you mentioning about being safe on the internet, what are the common things or assumptions about surfing the internet that people take for granted, and suddenly they found themselves trapped?
Okay.
So what tips can you give there?
Okay. The thing about surfing on the internet. So before I go down that pathway, you have to remember that as end users, as consumers, right? There are 2 or 3 ways that a hacker can get to your system. Well, more commonly 2 than 3, but I'll tell you all 3 anyway. The first one is that they can get into your system via your email. So spam, what do you call that? Phishing comes to your email. So too good to be true offers come to your email. Hyperlink that sends you to websites. That's number one. The other way that they get into your system is through websites. Okay, so having understood that, right? Number one, it's very important for you to manage your spam. It's very important for you to recognize when you are being spammed for a scam. Okay, so I have done a session with Romy that I talked about social engineering, that I went into great detail around recognizing the how to recognize a social engineer, whereby he's trying to get you to he's trying to fish you into giving out information like your login credentials and so on and so forth, or trying to fish you into trick you to downloading a file attachment. That's how they get into your system as well, or to get you to click on a link, right, to send you to a website. That's another trick as well. So these are the 3 main things that they do when they send you an email. Now, on a website, the general rule of thumb, number one, is to have an antivirus on your machine. An antivirus that is good, that has safe surfing capability. And what it does is that it actually has a database of thousands and thousands and thousands of websites. So those of you who have Norton will see that Norton will have this thing called safe surfing. And when you go to view them on Google search, for example, you'll see behind the websites little ticks that says okay, or even on LinkedIn, you will see a little green tick at the end of the URL. That means they've inspected it, and that's a safe website.
Mm.
So always adhere to safe websites. Number 2, websites that you do not see the destination, URLs that you do not see the destination, don't click. Or if you see the destination that looks very dubious, don't click. Because you don't want to go into a phish website that immediately upon launching the web page, they capture your IP address, they capture your browser. They capture your browser version, so they know what vulnerabilities you have already. Okay.
Mm.
Third thing, right? When you are visiting websites, make sure that the website is HTTPS. If you see a website that is HTTP, it means it's unsecured. That means that when you go to that website, you're going into a risky place. It's like, when you're walking down the street, this alley or this street is brightly lit, and then there's a shortcut which is a bit dingy, which is a bit dark. What does your gut feel tell you? So in the same way, think of surfing, visiting websites in the same light as well. So those that are brightly lit has this tick on the box, tick when you do the search on Google, that tells you it's safe, it's bright, it's okay to walk here. But then you may think that, wow, down here have a lot of new information that I could use for my posting, or for my my next review, or for my market research materials and everything. Should I go into the dingy, not so brightly lit lane? Well, you take a risk. Maybe there's nothing there, then good for you. But maybe there's something there that's lurking. Remember, when you go to a website, when you are refreshing your website on your browser, you are downloading something from the internet to your computer. Okay, I repeat, you are downloading data from that server to appear on your browser, and that's a download, and the residence of that information is on your computer. So if there's malware or viruses, it has already entered into your computer. So that is a behavior that you need to correct, so that you prevent that from happening. And that's where you have a safeguard mechanism. The safeguard mechanism is your antivirus, so that when it detects anything like that, it will automatically launch and scan, or automatically quarantine and block. So that's why it's really imperative for you to have antivirus on your PC, and more so on your smart devices, your mobile phone, if you do a lot of surfing. So my personal practice, right, when I'm thinking about surfing, is that I keep major surfing research work on a computer, because I got the firepower, I got the protection, right? Now on my iPad, I do surfing as well, but my iPad also has antivirus. I also have an antivirus, and the antivirus will tell me when my software is out of date, so I need to patch. It will tell me that, for example, I did not patch to the latest iOS, which is really good. And when I try going to a malicious website, it pops up potential malicious website. So I love it. I absolutely love it. So we need to depend on tools like this to tell us, but we need to obey them when they tell us that. Now, we also need to exercise common sense, because there is another antivirus that I use, right, that recognizes that classifies gambling site as dangerous because of the negative influence of gambling sites. So when I was doing some research for my company about how do I pitch to Singapore pools, I could not go in because my antivirus blocks me, prevents me from going in. But again, you exercise due diligence. You know that singaporepools.com, right, is a safe website. So what you do is that what I did was that I switch off the antivirus, right,
Okay.
and I still managed to go in. And then the minute I'm done, I switch on the antivirus again. That's why I have more than one, so that if I need to do stuff like this, I still have two to play with. I still have another two to safeguard me. So those are some tips I will give you for safe surfing. The other thing, sorry, just one more thing I need to stress.
Go ahead.
If you notice banking websites and so on, right, they always ask you for your credentials, and they always ask you for 2FA, right? So that's good. But if you ever get to a banking website that if you the user ID and the password, right, if you can copy and paste your user ID and copy and paste the password, be very, very careful. Chances are it could be compromised. The reason why I say that, if you don't believe me, today you go to your UOB website, you go to your DBS website, you find that maybe you can only copy the user ID, but you cannot copy the password. Go and try. You can only for the password you need to physically enter, because they have a code that just protects that field that goes into a special encrypted database to prevent phishing and key logging capture.
I realized that, yeah, with my banking account, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
it doesn't allow you to cut and paste.
Yeah, there's no cut and paste, and so when you know there's no cut and paste, then okay, safe.
It's a necessary inconvenience, I think. And one of the things I noticed when I go to a banking website, my antivirus software actually open up what do you call it? A safe. I don't know what you call it technically, but it opens up a different page where there's a blue line across, and they say this is meant for when you go online shopping or when you do any banking, a safe site.
Yeah, and that's how they tell you. Another way is that when you do a search, is a tick. There's a tick behind that tells you that it's safe. Some of them let you go through after that, informing you that it's safe. Some of them will have a blue line around it so that you know it's safe. So there are different approaches, and there are different ways that, an antivirus will actually tell you whether what you're doing is okay or not.
Okay.
So some antivirus specializes and is very strong in when you have an automatic download. The very, very sickening thing is, and which I don't like, is when the browser goes to a website and they automatically download something onto your computer. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. So I make sure that I have an antivirus that actually captures that I will see a bar that comes out and says attachment being downloaded, and then after that, safe. Or attachment not safe, quarantine. And then I say delete.
Oh, thank you for so much for saying this. Now I feel good, because the one that I'm currently using has got that. Because in business very often you have got to download all the proposals, the quotations, the images. You got no choice.
You have no choice. So that's why so again, know your business, know your behavior online. If you're exposed to this kind of risk, then please invest in some extra dollars in getting those kind of antivirus.
Okay. So far, we've been talking a lot about the antivirus side of things. So, which is basically now is not a choice, but it's a necessity, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, and that protects you from your. Last time we always think about antivirus more for the email side of things, but now it's also from the surfing side of things, right?
Yeah, and they still serve the email side of things as well. So they do check your email for file attachments, right? What do you call that? When you subscribe to services like Google and everything, they have anti-spam, for example. So they do check for all of that as well.
Okay. So just now we were talking about VPNs. Okay, what are VPNs, and does it help you in any way?
Okay, VPN is basically an encrypted communication. Okay, that's what it means essentially. It means that from your PC, you're communicating to a VPN server that then allows you to communicate to the World Wide Web. And this entire process, when you're communicating, is all encrypted. So VPN prevents what you call a man-in-the-middle attack. So a man in the middle means I'm snooping your connection. I'm snooping you to see what data you're sending out, what IP address. If I can capture that, I can actually divert you without you knowing it. So those are very dangerous, but you got to be, and more often than not, the concern over here is you are usually a high value target. Maybe you have lots of assets online and everything, and they want to hijack your account. Or you are a famous person, or you are a politician. That's when they will go after people like you, right? Or even if you are starting out, for example, like one of us, COC creators and everything. One day, you make lots and lots of money, so they will watch and monitor to see whether how easy is it to infiltrate and compromise your account and hijack so that they can pretend to be you. Like I remember Sean account was once impersonated by somebody, right? It could be a
Mm-hmm.
case of man in the middle, or it could be a case of a lookalike domain, for example. And what that person did was that he leveraged on Sean's um, credentials, his the people who trust him, to start sending out stuff and everything, and to collect money and so on and so forth. Now, Sean came forward and said that this particular URL or this particular website is obviously compromised and everything, and even ran through how to recognize some of that, how to see some of that, which is good. Then at least everybody knows that it's not Sean. But this is the digital era, right? You only see me here digitally. You see, this is me, but this is your reality of me. You have not met me for coffee. You don't know whether I really look like this or whether this is an avatar. Because there's also what you call it what you call what's that word for it? Not it's I can't remember the exact word. It just slipped my mind. It's fake videos basically, whereby you can
Okay.
overlay, deep fakes. That's right, deep fakes. Whereby I can overlay my face with Donald Trump and with a voice synthesizer speak like Donald Trump, or sound like Donald Trump, but maybe my mannerism will not be like Donald Trump. So there are software right now readily available in the market.
Okay. Wow. So
Not
for
many.
those,
Anybody.
kind of scary, isn't it? So for those people who do things like trading, like we've got, I'm not sure whether you can see the chats, Alvin.
No,
That
I
people
can't.
elaborate. Can you?
I can't see the chat. No. Oh,
Uh,
comment. Okay, yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay, somebody like Rain. Okay, who is a forex coach. So I guess he's a lot into the internet. He's mentioning about the phones. And the uh, yeah, what he's saying that he uses phones to pay. So now the gadgets like your phone where you do Google Pay or Samsung Pay. Is this now becoming another target?
Yes, it is becoming another target, and the target and the type of malware that they use to launch against you is called banking trojans.
Okay.
It's quite terrible, right? But there are ways of still, minimizing your attack on that.
Okay,
Um,
can you just share a little bit more, because a lot of us now start to make mobile payments. I see people using their Apple Watch and all the different things to do payment. How safe is that? How do we protect ourselves? Yeah.
Okay, so in any form of payments, right, you always need two-factor authentication to release the funds, and that's a very, very important stuff. So as long as you have that in place, you are safer. I'm not saying safe; you are just safer, because there's another thing called SIM scraping, where they can try to hijack your SIM card, but that one needs to be either a remote or physical, or you have some kind of banking trojan on your system for them to really try to take over with that. Um, the one that I like the most, right, is what Singapore is currently doing, whereby they use QR code for you to authenticate. So it's three level of security, whereby with OCBC Bank, for example, right, what they do is that for you to log in, you have to take your phone, right, and then with your SingPass, which is already a heavily strong authenticator, you then scan, and then you have that's one the physical act of scanning, because if your phone is compromised and it's lying here, right, and you are doing banking, no way the hacker can move your phone to the screen to scan, right? So that's very clever, all right? So that's number one. Number two, then on your phone, they ask you to authenticate either by means of a password or a thumb drive or some kind of biometric stuff. And only when all those happens, then the website on your computer will unlock to let you go into your bank account. And subsequently as well, when you want to do any transfer or transaction, it will then come back to your phone again and ask you, please authenticate. Do you approve this transaction? Yes or no? And then when you press OK again, if your phone is left unused for a while, they ask you to do biometrics again. So it's quite advanced. Many of the banking software, the way that they try to counter this is very, very sophisticated. But you just need to follow the bank's advice. When they ask you, please download the latest banking application. Again, it must be from an official, reputable website, right? And you need to know what it looks like, download it. Please update your applications and so on and so forth. So patching of software is very, very important, because when they patch your software, when they update your software, you're not only getting new features, but they're adding more security codes. The thing about cybersecurity is that it is an ongoing, evolving battle, because the bad guys are always behind you, coming after you. So the minute there's a vulnerability, or the minute there's an opening, so a vulnerability is like an opening, right? They come in and they infiltrate into your environment. And when they are in, and I got some horror stories to share as well, if there's time, about how somebody actually lost social media accounts, and she depended on social media accounts to actually make money, because she is like a freelancer, right? Sort of stuff. She does a lot of work around acting and recording and commercials and everything. She uses that to a point whereby it infiltrated her home, to a point whereby, when you look at the phone in terms of the location, she's not at the location that the phone that she's actually at. She's at a different location, some distance away. So it can seriously affect your life. So cybersecurity, and I need to stress this, okay, is not just a tool. It's a combination of tools, your process, meaning how do you manage certain things, like, for example, password changing, how often do you update, how often do you patch, and your discipline around that. Yes, it can be inconvenient. I admit it is inconvenient, but it's a necessary evil. And what's your mindset like? What's your online behavior like? Are you the defiant sort of person? I don't care. Even though if it's not safe, the goodies in this website is so good, I'm just going to go in and try to take it. No, you don't have to go into factory setting. Factory setting means there's no security. Okay, don't go to factory setting. Factory setting means it's default. The phone comes to you like that, right? You have to build everything up from scratch. Okay, all I'm just saying is that, number one, be mindful of your activities, be mindful of your actions. Also, know the nature of your business, know the nature of what you're doing online as well. Whatever you're doing online is part and parcel of your day-to-day work or your day-to-day routine as a solopreneur, or in your case, Ray, as a Forex coach, where you have to interact with a lot of people. Understand those potential points of exposure. Look at your workflow so that you know where do you need to beef up your protection, and where you can, relax based on the knowledge that you have in terms of how to recognize the face of threat. And that's the thing. You need to always recognize the face of threat. Am I going too fast?
No, you're obviously very passionate about this
Yes,
topic.
I am very passionate about this.
No. I think, for those people who are in here listening, and those of you who could be listening to the recording of this, obviously by now, we've gone into 28 minutes into this discussion. You must be somebody who is interested in this. And it looks like our friend Rain here, he says, I suspect I've been compromised. Okay, so Rain, what I'm going to do is going to ask you later on to get in touch with Alvin, and then, see what the next steps are for you, So Alvin, before we go any further, how do people connect with you? How do people contact you?
What do you call that? Well, the easiest way is to join my to drop me a private message, right? For those of you, let's see now, how do you get in touch with me by private message? Look me up as Alvin S. Rodriguez on my Facebook account, or join my my group. It's called Empower to Protect, one word. So Facebook group, Empower to Protect. Is there any way I can cut and paste that?
Can you type it in? Can you type it in?
How do I type it in here?
Okay, you say it's a Facebook page, is it?
Yeah. I'm just going to send it to you right now so that you have it, and then maybe you can share with
Okay.
them.
Does it look correct? I'm just posted it. Empower to protect. Does it look correct?
Empower to protect. Yes, Facebook page Empower to protect. So it's yeah. So you will see
Okay.
my name there as well. So get inside there, right? And I'll be you can ask questions and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It looks like that. Let me just see whether we can click that.
Okay, Rain. Thank you so much, Rain.
Thank
Yep.
you, Ray,
You're
for your
one
help.
step ahead. Yep. Okay. Good. Okay. So what as you continue sharing, we talk about the new normal from pandemic and so on, right? So we've got to practice. How I say, safer way of going out, wearing the mask, washing their hands, social distancing, isn't it? So basically, it's gone into a lifestyle change. Okay, the way
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
it is a lifestyle
So,
change.
so,
You're
so
right.
the same thing with cybersecurity now, isn't it? It's got to be a lifestyle change,
But the
right?
funny thing, the funny thing about it is that for many people they've taken the whole lifestyle online for granted already. So much so that it becomes an inconvenient lifestyle change for many of them because they say that I've always gone online. I've never done this, and why do I need to do this now? So it's the whole discussion, and that's one of the thing I'll be talking about in my L1 class, whereby or rather in one of the introductory session where I'll be talking about it's a balance between inconvenience or convenience versus cybersecurity. Where is your balancing point? And the determination of that balancing point depends on your online workflow, right? The nature of the business that forces you to be online and the type of activities you need to participate in, number one. Number two, right? Your attitude towards security. Are you more risk adverse? Are you more risk taker, right? And if you're more risk taker, what are you prepared to do when you are being compromised? So are you willing to accept the risk, or are you the sort of person who is I'm going to be deflecting the risk and say, no, it's not. I'm not going to do it because you can't do things like this. You cannot avoid. You cannot shrug the responsibility away. When something like that happens, you need to grab the bulls by the horn and just run with it. And then you need to start thinking about what the tools that you need to safeguard and protect yourself based on the different kinds of activities that you do and based on the different kinds of activities that you are involved in and that you conduct as well, especially if those activities are value creating activities that hinges on your personal persona and your personal reputation, because then you'll probably become a target for the
Mm.
hackers and everything that Alvin has a really nice profile, I can really try to hijack that and so on. And always check. I recently post a post about have you been pawned, and it tells you whether your email has been compromised, and where has it been compromised, on what website. So the idea behind that is to go in and change the password on those websites if it's something that's very recent. And then there are many little tips I can share with everybody, around even simple things like if you're not using this application anymore, delete it from your phone. How often do you have applications lying on your phone just waiting there, waiting to be compromised, and you did not bother removing it? Because if I bet you go to your iOS or you go to your Android and you double click on it and it probably says no longer supported, man, you have a time bomb then. Okay, if I'm a hacker, I know that you have such an application, it's already vulnerable. I can find a way to get into your system just by means of that being there. So know
Mm.
your environment as well. It's just like in your own workplace, you know your tools, you know your assets, you know what you have a clear idea of everything in your inventory. You need to do the same with your phone as well. Just because it's digital is not top of mind. You don't see it on your desktop or the real estate space on your phone or your computer. It doesn't mean that it's still valid. If you're not using it anymore, if you're not using it for more than 6 months, delete it, remove it. You want to use it again later, reinstall. But if you're not using it anymore for a while, just remove it.
Wow, thank you so much, Alvin. That's really very practical tips. No.
Exactly.
This one reminds me
No,
of one thing. Somebody tells me, "Hey, every night um, every night I what do you call that? I shut down my computer. I mean, I
yeah.
log out everything, and therefore I should be safe."
Okay. Every
Can
night you
people
shut down
hack
the
my
computer.
computer when I'm not logged on?
Okay. If you have completely, so there's a difference, you have shut down, meaning it completely powered down. Okay,
Mhm.
which means that there is no activity taking place on your computer when it's powered down. If you are hibernating, that's a different thing altogether, because hibernate can be reactivated. So like the Mac, very famous, boom, close, hibernate, right? So the danger of hibernation is that they can always fire it up. And the other thing is that for notebooks, when you shut down, don't leave it open. Okay, please shut down, close the notebook, close it. Don't leave it open. Sorry, don't leave it open like that with the camera pointing. Okay, I've seen cases whereby it gone into hibernation or sleep mode, and then what happened is that the computer gets reactivated and they are taking pictures every 20 seconds of
Wow.
whatever is in wherever the camera is pointing. Or worse
Wow.
still, have a good habit. Okay, I'm just going to show you something. Like I've got a webcam right over here. So I have this on my webcam. See? Okay. So what it does is that when I'm done with the webcam, I close. So I don't even trust, even though it's connected to the computer and everything is not on anymore. And the on, they have a light to indicate that I'm currently using it and it's switched on. I make sure I close, meaning that it's completely blocked. So for example, you want if I want to stop right now, you can't see me at all. So 100% darkness, you can't see. So this is what I mean by mindset. You must inculcate that kind of mindset to look at how do you safeguard and protect yourself. So I just want to answer some of the questions. Can antivirus detect application that have not been used for a long time? No, it cannot. But you can do a quick scroll. If you're using Microsoft Windows, it will tell you which application you've not used for a while by going into the settings, right? For your iOS, you need to go in and slowly scan through all the applications you have and just take a quick audit, to see what application. And same goes for Android as well. They'll actually list all the application you have, and you can say, I've not used this. If you tell yourself that, what icon is this? You probably did not use it for a while.
Okay, immediately I can quickly, I can instantly identify at least half a dozen things sitting on my or in my phone that I said, yeah, maybe no need lah, maybe one time in the future I'll use it, but I probably
Yeah.
said that 2 years ago.
So if one time in the future you're going to use it, then install it then. So like what Raymond said, no harm to uninstall and then to reinstall when you need it later. That's correct. That's the right attitude. Plus, you free up space on your computer. Plus, you free up performance capability on your phone or computer. So again, if you're not using it, just uninstall. There's no harm.
I
Especially
know
when you
what I'll
own the
be doing
license to it, you
tonight.
can always reinstall later on.
I know what I'll be doing tonight. So Alvin, as we wrapped up, you mentioned something about you're gonna run a workshop, to share with people on the fundamentals of being safe on the internet. Do you have any dates or any time for it yet?
Well, for that workshop and everything, I'm looking at sometime in February next year. I'll be putting
Oh,
all the
okay.
material together. But I'm doing this Sunday a preliminary introduction, around security versus convenience.
Okay.
And the whole thing around that is the mindset setting. Because actually at the end of the day, cybersecurity is all about the mindset. It's all about you making a personal commitment to change how you want to behave online, what you want to do online, and recognizing your own personal workflow so that you know where are your points of failure or potential points of failure in your entire episode of leaving inverted commas. And when I say leaving the house, meaning leaving your computer, going through your Wi-Fi or going through your 5G, from there going to the cloud, to the different applications that you have, and then navigating on the World Wide Web. And how do you conduct, how do you interact, and even on social media, for example. Just one more tip to share with all of you, right? When I get a friend request or a LinkedIn request, right, I will usually scan to see how long has this account been active. If the account only started less than 6 to 9 months ago, and I look at the person is actually not a school kid or whatever, I will just automatically reject unless there is a compelling reason that the person has been recommended to me by somebody that I know. But if it's an unsolicited request, I will reject, because I know for a fact it's a phishing hacker, or is somebody
Mm.
with some kind of intent, for some kind of nefarious activity that is just set this up, park there for a while, squat for a while, and then try to get people to accept the invitation. Once you accept invitation, means they get access. That's the first step of getting access to your account. Now, not direct access to your login credentials, but getting to see your lifestyle, your postings, and everything.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Got to take note. Okay. So you got this Sunday. Can you do us a favor? can you put it on your empowerment Facebook page,
Yeah,
the
I will.
details of it, and then this video or this live show is going to be on the Work Less Earn More Facebook page. Can you also put the link or the details in there so the listeners who are listening on this Work Less Earn More page can also be able to join your program? And one last question is this, okay? So for those of us who have been listening here, who's been a bit frightened and realized that we've got to do something but don't know what to do, what do you think on our next step is? Do you have a like a personal concierge type service that we can get you to, of course we trust you, yeah, go have a look at our system and help us do a check,
Well, what I can do is that, I mean, like so like what I'm doing for one person right now, this person who has lost the account and everything, I'm helping her create what you call a clean bubble. So she's resetting her entire digital lifestyle, right? So we're starting with clean email account, clean network connection, right? Clean notebook, and then monitor. And then slowly from there, observe to see, and it's quite time consuming, okay? To see what are the bad habits if it's behavior related, what are the lack of awareness if it is activity related, and to look at her workflow online, right? And to look at what tools she needs, and from there she should be fine already after that, because it's not that difficult. But what you find on the internet now is there are a lot of this kind of information, but they give you piecemeal. They don't put things in context for you in terms of the whole mindset, the whole workflow, the whole lifestyle, the whole tools. They will tell you like the biggest myth, antivirus, install antivirus and you're safe. Or some people say, what about going passwordless? It's again excess. You're only talking about one element, excess. Excess does not mean that going passwordless means that you're just controlling access to one thing. What if going passwordless means that you go passwordless everything and it's all a common digital code that if compromised, then all your accounts are lost. So you have to think about it from multiple angle as well. So like for example, I keep a password manager, right? And I've got I was just last counting and everything, I've got about 310 different passwords inside there, okay, for numerous accounts that I do and everything. And I also decommission accounts. So when I'm not, again, another habit of mine, when I'm no longer using that online service, I decommission. I deactivate the account because I don't want that username and that password to be hijacked for it to be used to impersonate me on that account that I'm no longer active, that I'm not aware of.
Okay.
So again, basic rule of thumb, know your inventory. Understand what you have.
I sort of like feel guilty now that I've got so many back doors open.
Those are back doors. I mean, but you see, the thing is that there are many, 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 many people out there who are probably doing the same thing, that hackers are just taking their time and just sifting through. It has not come to you yet, and that's why we have cases whereby, like what you shared, some of your friends, some of your people have been compromised before, because it's unfortunate that they are higher on the stack rank list in terms of combing the database and okay, as what they say in Hokkien, chia, and then they continue combing, and it has not come down to you yet, so always, dynamically change your password. Be aware. The main thing is to always be aware. And don't be frightened, Ray. I can see you having this horrid look on emoticon and everything. Don't be afraid, because the World Wide Web is not a terrible place. It's a land of opportunity. Okay, but like any land of opportunity, right? You also need to know how to defend yourself. You need to know how to protect yourself when you're on this space.
I guess the final summation, Alvin, is that when we go into the world outside, in the physical world, the word we use is you got to be street smart. You got to look out for danger signs and how to protect yourself.
Yeah, street smart.
So similarly, in the digital world, you got to be street smart from the digital sense and protect yourself. Okay,
you gotta be
so
digi
Alvin,
smart.
we've come up to the I would say the maximum, for this live show. I think it's gone. This is the longest show I've ever had, because I think the topic that you've covered, definitely a lot of people are interested. Many people may not have practiced safe surfing. Okay, right? and they need to be a bit more aware. Okay, so I think by you.
Sorry, I just saw a comment from Candice. Can I just answer her question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Candice, you said that you tend to hibernate your computer instead of shutting down, right? What you call that? Is it a notebook or a PC? If it's a PC, please don't hibernate. Please don't ever hibernate a PC, because the PC will have all your devices pointing and exposed to you. If it's a notebook, please, if you want to hibernate, you can, okay, but make sure when you hibernate, you close everything, which means that even though if they try to do whatever, they try to activate it, they can't see anything, they can't do anything. And all they get is just a power shutdown. Besides, those computer that thank you. So it's a notebook. So when you do it this way, when you keep it this way, right, chances are there's a mechanism inside that prevents it from powering up, unless it's connected to a VGA connector and to a VGA connector that comes out to a display device before it can power up. So they can't simulate that kind of port instructions, or rather, it's too difficult to simulate that kind of port instructions. So if you want to hibernate, I assume it's a Mac, close it. Don't leave it open. Hibernate open means they can activate and then capture videos of you doing whatever things that you do.
And then she'll do the OMG.
Yeah, and then she'll do the OMG, yes.
Okay, thank you, Alvin. I think this is a very, very enjoyable session. And so, ladies
had a
and
lot of fun
gentlemen,
too.
ladies and gentlemen, we give Alvin a big round of applause, and do come back next week. Remember, it's always 7 p.m. on a Thursday, Singapore time. Hong Kong, Manila is 7 p.m. Come back and join me in the Ask YP Now show, where we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to give you direct answers to any questions you have, and I'm going to be announcing what the topic is next week. Okay, so bye-bye, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.